Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. If you are new, if you're not new, welcome back to my channel. My name is Marina and today I'm just so happy. I have been getting so much great television the past few months. I don't know what I did to deserve it. Actually, no, I do know. I've been wasting my time with a lot of bad television from these streaming services for the last, I want to say 2 years at least. So the fact that I am receiving so much good stuff after giving for so long, it feels so good. It feels so good to receive, you know? Today I'm going to be talking about a great television show, despite what the critics say. The people are lying. I'm going to be talking about the show First Kill. Guys, I'm very excited. I'm so excited, and I don't really want to waste any more time. So if you don't know what my show breakdowns are, that's what I'm going to be doing today. Yeah, so it's basically where I talk about a show, characters of a show, stuff that they did, stuff that happened throughout the show, and then I'm going to talk about what I liked and disliked at the end. It's gonna be a fun time. If you don't know what First Kill is, it's a new Netflix show that came out that centers around Juliet, who is a vampire, and Calliope, who is a monster hunter, and their forbidden romance. And it's so freaking good. Despite what critics say, listen to me, don't listen to them. I would never lead you astray. It's good. It's good, okay? Let's just get into it. First character I'm gonna be talking about is one that doesn't really matter, Tess. Now, I don't know what happened to Tess. I think she just went somewhere mid-season, and I don't know if she's coming back. I don't care if she's coming back, but she was there in at least the first half of the season, so I have to talk about her, okay? Cal's ex-girlfriend. That's it. She snitched on Cal about her feelings towards vampires. I didn't like her because whoever messes with my sister, Calliope, I hate her. So yeah, after she did that, I was like, well, your parents died, but oh well. Very sad what happened to her parents, but she had it coming. Because, you know, you talk too much. Talk too much, your parents talk too much, and you know what that got them? Stabbed in the heart or something. So, you know, maybe don't talk too much next time, and the universe won't try to pull a gotcha moment, you know? I literally feel nothing towards her. I don't know if she's coming back. She was kind of an irrelevant character, if I'm being honest. She didn't do anything except be there for Calliope, but was she really? I don't think she was, so useless. So next character I have, Ben. I love Ben. I think he's hilarious. He's Juliet's best friend, been best friends since childhood. And I guess that explains why he took her secret so well, because not gonna lie, I thought the build up to him finding out that she's a vampire would have lasted the whole season, but no, I think she confessed it to him, like I think the second or third episode. I was very surprised by how well he took it. Like, he had this little freak out moment, don't get me wrong, but he was very calm throughout the rest of the season regarding her secret, which I found interesting. But also, you just saw your friend suck this man dry. That sounded so bad. Suck this man of his blood dead, out cold, and your response is, here's a towel for your face. Like, I'm sorry. Ben is kind of a real one, the bestest friend on this show. Dating a guy who's in the closet who's with another girl. I've spoken my piece on this already, I think in like my Heartstopper video. I'm very tired of this trope, and I really think that Ben deserves better, and I'm glad that he thinks so too. It took him a while. It took Juliet having to talk some sense into him, very rudely, might I add. She didn't need to go that hard, dig into him that much, but if it takes him like breaking it off with him, then that's great. Happy for him. Also, the guy ended up dying later in the episode, so I guess it really didn't matter because that's what he deserved. His mom is creating an organization called MAM. I know. I don't know what to say about it either. Created an organization called MAM to go against the police and the DA, Sebastian, because she feels like they're not doing enough to stop the monsters in the town. I don't know how that's gonna affect his relationship towards Juliet or his friendship or anything with Juliet and Calliope. I don't think it will. He's obviously made it clear that he's on their side and not his mother's side, so besties for life. Whoopee. Yeah, I like Ben. I think he's nice. I think he's cool. I think he's funny, and I hope that he sticks around for a while. Like, I feel like they're gonna do that thing that they do with every like black best friend, where they just make them go through all this sad stuff for season on end. I'm looking at Bonnie from the Vampire Diaries. Yeah, let's not do that to Ben. I think he deserves happiness. Okay, so next character we have is the man himself, Sebastian. So I'm looking at one of the bullet points I put, and I'm okay. So he was a human at one point, and then Margot turned him into a half-made vampire, and then he was on the verge of dying, so he's officially a legacy now because of a snake that went inside of him or something. It was weird. That episode itself was very strange, but nevertheless, he's a legacy vampire. Whoopee, good for him. Now he's shedding all over the house. He ate Davina. He ate his wife's mother. I'm sorry. He literally ate he ate that woman whole. And the weird, like, I know everyone thinking that's funny, because it is funny, don't get me wrong, but the funniest part about it was Eleanor was in the room and watched the whole entire time. I can't find words to describe the feelings that went through me in that one scene. I was like, what the like, I didn't get it. I didn't understand. I have no idea how the snake affects the people that turn into legacies. I have no idea, but apparently he was very angry, and he took his anger out on Davina by eating her. It was a choice that was made by the script writers. It was definitely a choice, but you know, she had to go somehow, because I hated Davina. So when she died, I was like, whoopee. At that moment, I didn't really care how it was done. I just needed her gone. So good on Sebastian for that. I think he's a pretty decent father. Like, he obviously cares about the girls. He calls out Margot when she's, you know, doing a lot regarding her relationship with Juliet and Eleanor. Nothing much to really say about him. He's the DA, so he's stressed with his job. And that's probably going to play a big part in season 2. If there is a season 2, I'm hoping there's a season 2, because of the whole MAM organization thing and how there are more monsters coming, as we saw in the last episode. So his job is about to get very and depending on, you know, what happened earlier in the season, if he gets angry or lashes out, he could possibly eat people. So that's not good. You know, Sebastian, he's just trying to live his life. He's trying to live his life. And, you know, it's very hard to live your life when you're married to a legacy and one of your daughters is actually a sociopath, and the other is trying to figure out her love for this girl that she's not supposed to date. And your wife is the keeper in waiting for this thing that you want no part of. And your job is something that your whole family is against. It's kind of a lot for Sebastian. I'm interested in him as a character, but not that much. So let's move on. Let's get into Margot. I like Margot a lot. I think, okay, as like a whole, I think Juliet's family is so interesting, but Margot specifically, she's so layered that I think I'm gonna have fun with her on, like, down the road as the show goes on. I enjoyed getting to know her backstory, because I like when she got introduced in the first episode, I thought, okay, you're obviously like evil, you're terrible. And I'm not saying she's not terrible. She has moments in the show where I'm just like, you're not a good parent at all. But at some point I was like, I get you. I think she wants Juliet to have her first kill so Juliet can stop, you know, suffering, kind of like, because Juliet had to take those blood pills and she looked like she was in agony the whole entire time. She was like, Juliet, you gotta do the first kill. But she also did it because she wanted to make sure that the line of succession for the legacy continued on. That was the main reason why she did it. And then she put parenting second, because, you know, the legacy is always a priority in that household. Obviously she was shunned by her family for marrying Sebastian. Interesting. It's interesting because, like, she hasn't shunned Juliet yet, but the way that she's acting in regards to Juliet and Calliope's relationship is very odd, considering you kind of went through the exact same thing with your mother. Like, there's a lot of generational trauma in Juliet's household that needs to be addressed, because from the way that the grandma talks to Margot and the way that Margot talks to Juliet, it's just a whole lot of... It's a lot, and you could tell how much it affects Juliet and Eleanor because of how different they are. But anyway, yeah, back to Margot. She got shunned by her family for marrying Sebastian, and she said that she doesn't want Juliet to go through the same thing, but not in the way that you think. She doesn't want her to go through the same thing, meaning that she just wants her to get her first kill and become a vampire. As in regards to Cal and Juliet's relationship, she's like, no, that's not allowed. The only way to solve, you know, your family not disowning you is for you to kill someone. She wants her to kill someone instead of being in love. That was Margot's whole thing, that I was like, okay, you lost me a little. I don't like the parenting tactics in this show for Juliet's family, very questionable. I like Margot. I think she's very rude to Juliet. Like, I'm pretty sure she called her dumb at least 3-4 times throughout this show, but every time she's on the screen I can't help but pay attention to her, so I guess she's doing something right, or at least the actress that plays her is doing something right. She's just very captivating. I think she knows how to handle situations well. I feel like she's really good in bad, stressful situations, especially now that she has to deal with the council wanting to meet up with her and her family. And the council, no one really knows that her husband ate her mother, the head of the legacy thing that they're a part of. So now she has to figure that out, and that's going to be fun for next season. I'm very excited to meet the head people in charge of this whole thing, because we haven't met the guild yet. The people in charge of the monster hunter people, we haven't met them yet. I want to meet them. I want to see what they're about, and I want to meet the council, because apparently this council is a big deal, even though I thought the legacy hierarchy was like the top of the food chain. No, apparently the council is where it's at. So I want to meet them, and I want to know how Margot is going to go about telling them, yeah, my mother, she's just not around. My husband ate her. Like, I just want to hear that conversation come to life, because I don't even think Juliet knows. Does Juliet know? Does Juliet know that her grandma is dead, let alone that her dad ate her grandma? Like, does she know? Oh, that household is so messy. Okay, yeah, that's Margot. I enjoy Margot. I like when she's on my screen, especially when she's sharing the screen with Talia, but I'll get to Talia in a second. In order to get to Talia, I have to talk about Jack first, because I have to get him out of the way eventually. So Jack, Cal's dad, I guess, but you could say that he views Cal more as a hunter than a daughter, which is very concerning. Like, there were a few times when Talia had to put him in his place, saying like, hey, she's your daughter first. You know that, right? Like, she's our daughter before she's a hunter. You do know that, don't you? Like, it was very bizarre to me the way that she was talking to him like a child sometimes. Like, 1 + 1 = 2, Jack. It was so bizarre. Jack, I don't know. I think okay, you're exactly what I expected. You're exactly what I expected. Apparently his girlfriend, well, no, his ex-girlfriend, according to Talia, the woman who keeps coming to their house to like help them with hunter stuff, that's his ex-girlfriend. So I'm confused as to why Talia keeps letting her in the house to begin with, because I personally would never. I don't care who she is. I don't care where she is in the food chain of the hunters, if she's my boss or whatever. You can stay your butt outside and we'll talk at the door. Like, I had no idea that they were exes. Talia's a lot better than me in every way, but especially that, because are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Yeah, no. He did not hesitate to strap Theo down when he found out that Theo was a vampire. Like, that's red flags all around. You've been raising this child since he was like, what, 5? And now you're just wanting to do a little stabby just because of what? He's a vampire, okay? I know that he's a monster hunter, so it makes sense or whatever, but you've literally raised this kid kind of his whole life. So for like, it was just the fact that Talia had to literally talk him down from grabbing every weapon in that cabinet. Oh, it was getting wild to me. It was getting very bizarre. Yeah, Jack is just, he's there and I have to put up with him because he's Cal's dad. So next character we have is the actual head bitch in charge. Let's talk about Talia. I love this woman. I love this woman a lot. She's such a good mother. First and foremost, she's a great mother. I don't care what y'all have to say. Literally, I don't really know how she would have dealt with running the household anyway. Like, her 3 children are kind of running amok and causing chaos, and she dealt with it the best way she could. Like, she reminded me of any other Black mother having to deal with the stuff that she had to deal with. She's just determined to protect her children above all else. Like, no matter what monster hunt needs to be done, no matter what needs to be defeated, she's like, okay, but is my child okay? Like, that's a good woman. That's a good mother. She tortured Oliver to get Cal back. Meanwhile, Cal is across the city running wild with Juliet. So yeah, she's just not with the shit. If you have her child, if you're threatening her child, if you're like on the verge of like killing her child, she will hunt you down and she will find you. She's playing no games when it comes to her children. I can only respect her for that. However, I don't know what she thought was gonna happen when she told Cal to stop seeing Juliet, as if that was ever gonna, like, I don't understand why she thought Cal would listen to her. They go to the same school. They're bound to see each other, talk to each other. They're at school for what, 7-8 hours, and then the big threat of like moving schools. You're not moving schools. I mean, you probably would, but you're not going to. These two can't stay away from each other, and you telling them to not be around each other just gonna make them want to get together even more. So yeah, I don't know why she was surprised when she found out that Juliet was already invited into her house before. Like, you guys keep telling these girls to stay away from each other. They're gonna find loopholes. It's not hard to climb up your house, apparently. Like, these girls do it like it's their sport. The way that she cried over Theo in the last episode kind of got to me. Like, that's really her child, not in like a DNA blood way, but that's her baby. She loves Theo. You might even think that he was her favorite child, the way that she was crying and sobbing. It was a beautiful scene. And the way that she took him to Oliver, of all places, oh, that's I wasn't expecting that. That was a good plot twist. I wasn't expecting her to go all the way to Oliver's place for Theo to get help. But I'm glad that she did, because I would rather not like to see Theo dead. That would have been nice. And knowing Jack, he definitely would have gone through with the kill. So I'm glad Talia took him away. Yeah, that's Talia. Love her. I do. So let's get into Oliver, shall we? Where do I start with Oliver? He's a kind of complex, but is he really? I don't know. So he's Juliet's older brother that got disowned from the family because he's a psychopath. Allegedly. So when he killed Tessa's parents, I did cheer. I did partake in the cheering and the wooing and the clapping, because again, they went against Cal. They're instantly on my hit list, and Oliver completed the hit list with ease. So for that, I'm thankful. Should have killed Tess to finish the job, but I digress. He's into a witch named Carmen, and I wish we got to know more about that relationship, because they explained it once in a scene, and now we have clips of him and Carmen together every other episode, and I'm just supposed to be like, oh, this makes sense. Like, no, tell me how this happened. You ran away from home, you got with this witch, and now y'all are back in town to what, wreak havoc with all your little monsters in your backyard? I need answers. I need so many answers from Oliver. We got some in that last episode, but did we really? So he wants to get back at Eleanor for making him seem like a villain in front of his whole entire family, right? Because that's why he got disowned, was because like his family saw him making bad decisions and like being terrible and killing people left and right. Throughout the whole entire season, they never really explained what he did. It wasn't until I think the last episode where he went in depth with what he did, and it was with the scene with Eleanor. So now we know that Oliver is innocent, but I feel like the parents are obviously going to believe Eleanor over Oliver. So where do we go from here? Oliver wants revenge. I'm very excited to see what he does next season with all of the monsters he has in his backyard. Like, I'm talking little, like the big monsters that we saw in like the first or second episode. Yeah, he has those just like casually in his backyard, ready to wreak havoc. So I would like to see it. I think Oliver as a villain would make sense because he literally looks like one. I was expecting him to do something bad throughout the season, and he didn't. But next season, oh, Savannah is his little playground, and he hasn't even started with the debauchery. So yeah, Oliver, he's cool. I like him. I think that he's good to Juliet, which I care about because I care about Juliet. He actually cares about his sister, and you could arguably say that he cares about his family to some extent. Like, he cares kind of what they think of him, which makes it hurt even harder when you realize that they don't really share the same sentiment. Like, Margot cares about Oliver, and so does Sebastian. But if Oliver were to be truthful about everything that Eleanor did to make him seem bad, I feel like they wouldn't believe him at all. So I don't really know. I feel bad for Oliver, and I like him. I like him as a character. I just want to know more about him and Carmen. That's all. Because I like the amount of times this woman pops up in a scene is so like wild to me, because I'm just like, who are you? Who are you? I would like to see more of the witches. Because now that we know that they exist, we only see one and they're not explained. I love witchcraft stuff in fantasy shows, so give me more, please. Let's get on to Eleanor. Where do I start with Eleanor? So she has powers in her family that no one else has. She can like wipe memories or something from people's minds, and she uses that throughout the season. So like she's very powerful. She can use it and not be drained. I know that you guys like her. Like everyone's like, oh, this is like my GF. Love her bits and pieces. Like, oh my god. And I get it, you know. I get it. Sure. I find her annoying. I find her very annoying and very nosy and just in everyone's business all the time. I'm just like, please calm down. I like her clothes. I enjoy her fashion. Every time she walks into the scene, she has my full attention because, hello, like her outfits top tier every single episode. However, her attitude and her nosiness and just everything is just very, very bad. She wants Juliet to commit her first kill. She makes it seem like she wants her to do it so Juliet can stop suffering over these red pills and just like kill someone already. But no, she wanted Juliet to commit her first kill because she wanted to keep her title as a legacy and second in line to be the keeper or whatever. Like she wanted to stay a legacy and not get in trouble with the council, and the only way to do that was for Juliet to make her first kill. So she really only cares about herself at the end of the day, which is what a villain is for. And you could say that she's somewhat of the villain for this season, but not really. Depends on how you want to look at it. But yeah, I just think she's very self-centered and kind of annoying. Like, I think she cares about Juliet, but in her own sick, sadistic, weird way. Like, it's sisterly love, but at a certain extent. You can tell that she cares about her family. Like when she said that she would marry her mom's ex-fiance's son in order for her grandma to save her dad. That was crazy. Wasn't expecting that. Granted, it only lasted like one episode. She didn't actually marry him, but I think you could tell that like she really does care about her family. She just shows it in the most sick and twisted ways that you're kind of just like, do you? But she does. Her stabbing Theo. She didn't stab Theo. That wrong choice of words. Apollo stabbed Theo, but he was aiming for her. You could arguably say that he killed Theo because Eleanor got out of the way. She did what needed to be done because they were definitely going in there to kill her. Like, I don't know why Apollo was lying. So I don't blame her for what went down in that bathroom stall. I don't blame her at all. Kill or be killed. That's literally the whole entire show. So yeah, I'm not mad at her for that. I love Theo. Like, I don't want him to die. But in that circumstance, like, I don't blame her for letting Theo die because he definitely would have killed her. The thing with her manipulating Oliver since they were children is so messed up, so sad, but not where I thought it was going. So I really liked that. It was kind of a plot twist that I enjoyed. I liked it a lot. And I like to see more of the sibling dynamics between Eleanor, Oliver, and Juliet because I feel like we barely got all three of them together in one scene, and I would like to see it. I would like to see some family counseling in the whole entire family because there's a lot to unpack between, you know, the sibling rivalry and the generational trauma and the fact that your dad ate your grandma. It's just a lot going on in that household that I think needs to be addressed. They all need to have like a family meeting together whenever Eleanor gets out of jail. Let's go on to Theo. Honestly, although I love Theo, I don't have much to say about him. I feel like he was only really in like the first few episodes and then in the last few. In the middle, he was kind of nowhere to be seen, or he just didn't have lines. So I don't really know what to say about him. He has a different mom than Apollo and Cal, and his mom was bitten or died via legacy vampire, which is sad. I feel like it was probably explained, but I would probably wasn't paying attention. How did Jack and Talia adopt him? Like, did they just find him in the middle of like the woods? They're monster hunters, so maybe they were sent out on a hunt and they found his mom's dead body, and they found him with his mom's dead body and they just took him in. Like, I want to know how that happened. Maybe it was explained, maybe it wasn't. I don't know. Someone let me know, because I don't know. Apparently he was also bitten by a legacy vampire, allegedly. He doesn't remember being bitten, but he was like, I have this like something in my system that can help Cal take out the venom in her body and blah blah blah. I think it's funny how he didn't turn into a legacy at that point, but as soon as Juliet bit him, he's now like this. He's not a legacy, but he's like a half-made vampire. Isn't that what they're called? I feel bad for him because like Jack was really about to kill him. It was bad for Theo out here. I'm hoping for the best for him in season 2. I can only imagine living with that many vampires in your backyard and like Oliver of all people and his weird witch girlfriend. Like, it's not gonna be the most fun experience, but I hope the best for him in the long run. Like I really do. Let's get into the other brother, Apollo. I find Apollo annoying, and because of that I think him and Eleanor work perfectly together because they're both annoying. He brought a shambler into the house, and what, the first episode I was like, dude, you had one job. You had one job, and that job was to take out the monster. You brought a summoner into the house, and now you're mad that everyone's bringing it up every 5 seconds as if you almost didn't get them killed. Dude, like he's just too proud, too confident, too cocky, and he's aware of it because he says it nearly every episode. But god damn, like please give me a break. Like, why are you feeling threatened by the MAM organization? Sir, please. Like, why are you on the MAM's website looking up their strategies and how they feel and blah, blah, blah? Like, you're a trained monster hunter since, what, out of the womb? You need to calm down. If Eleanor and him do end up getting together, I wouldn't be mad because that works perfectly. In the long run, I would not be surprised if that were to happen. That makes perfect sense. Yeah, that's all I have to say about Apollo. He's there, and I have nothing to say about him. His presence did nothing for me in the show. Maybe later on down the line it will, but not this season. It's time to get on to my besties, my girls, the main characters. Let's get into Juliet first. So I love Juliet, and if I see any Juliet hate, I'm gonna be kind of skeptical, kind of side-eyeing you. Like, I don't understand the Juliet slander. Not that I'm seeing much of it. I'm only seeing it in like tiny little like incel subsections on Twitter. For the most part, everyone loves Juliet, which is great because I don't understand how you can't. She's hilarious. Like, and it's accidental. She's not trying to be funny with half of the stuff she says, but a comedian. Cal says call her Cal, and you're like, why? why would I do that? And like I love her energy. She really does not know how to talk to people. Like, she is very socially awkward. She's the awkward, nerdy lesbian that y'all have been fantasizing for in your WLW relationship media trope stuff, you know? And I love it. I love Juliet. I love the fact that she can't really stand her family all that much. Like, she's rarely ever in that house, and when she is, she's running out of it to go visit Calliope. And I get it, because her family, if you couldn't tell from how I described them, it's a mess in that house. She doesn't want to be a vampire, doesn't want to be a legacy. She doesn't want to kill people, which is understandable, yet her family looks at her like she's insane. It's the most bizarre thing ever. You can tell that she gets some of her humanity from her father, because the way Margot talks to her, it's ridiculous, borderline manipulative and abusive. Like I said, down bad for Calliope. Did I mention that? I feel like I should have mentioned that to begin with, but yeah, she's down bad for that girl. Like, she was whipped first episode, very insta-lovey, but you know what? I'm okay with it. And, you know, as soon as she got in that pantry, she jumped her. Like, it was like a primal instinct. It was crazy. The scene was amazing though. Like, the actresses that play these two, the chemistry is there. Like, it's definitely there. I could see it. I could see it from the first time they made eye contact. It's crazy. Juliet just down bad, terrible for Calliope. Constantly has to protect her from her parents, and Calliope vice versa. Like, their parents really don't want them together, and Juliet's like, no. Either you let me be with her for at least one day, or I'm running away. Like, she's whipped in love, which is why it's so tragic what happened at the end, but I'm not gonna get into that yet. So her first kill ended up being that creepy cook guy or whatever. Good for her. Like, I know that she didn't want to kill people, I know, but he was a bad person. So you did everyone a favor. Good for you. Like I said earlier, I don't like the way that she talked to Ben in the one episode where there was a monster or zombie in the school. I don't like how she talked to him, but he needed the reality check, so I couldn't really be that mad. But still, like, let's ease up on him a bit, okay? Her giving the key for Eleanor's like storage locker, whatever, to the cops, wild. I don't know if she gave it to the cops or if she gave it to Oliver to give to the cops. Either way, bold move. She basically said, yeah, I can't stand you, you're going to prison, to her own sister. Literally was smirking as the SWAT team pulled her out of the house. That was nuts to me. Those final 2 episodes were really a trip. Eleanor was doing a lot to Juliet throughout the whole entire season, regarding not just her becoming a legacy, but also like her relationship with Calliope, just doing a whole lot. So I understand why Juliet was like, I've had enough, you're going to jail. I've had enough. Wee woo, police are outside, you're going to jail. I find that hilarious, and I think it's deserved. Like, I'm surprised that she didn't do it earlier when Eleanor tied Cal to a tree for Juliet to kill her. I'm surprised that it didn't go down right then and there. Like, the fact that she did it after Theo died, yeah. It had to be done. Juliet was like, this is enough. I've had enough. I also don't really blame her for what she did to Theo. I don't think she had bad intentions, like, at all. But I don't blame Calliope for how she reacted to it. But because Juliet, she doesn't want to kill people, but she wanted to drain Theo of his blood to take him out of his misery. Like, he was in that bathroom asking for help, like, please put me out of my misery. She knew that there was a possibility he would become a vampire, but she didn't take that into consideration. She was just trying to let that boy go, like, let him move on to a higher spiritual place. Yeah, I feel bad for her because of the way everything ended with her and Cal. Oh, I need the writers to do something next season to bring them back. I need some healing done for what that ending was, because I don't know what it was. I'm gonna act like it wasn't there. Yeah. Juliet, I love her. She's so sweet. I don't understand how people call her a monster all the time. She's just very lovable. I liked her every time she was on my screen. I think she's funny, hilarious, and a simp for Calliope, which I can relate to. Let's move on to Calliope. This girl is way too good at her job for her parents to just constantly be putting her off to the side. Like, I'm sorry, she can fight. She can sense a monster from a mile away. Like, she could tell Juliet was a vampire off the bat just from like a little bee on her shoulder. I'm tired of her family always doubting her. Like, yeah, she's in love with Juliet, but that doesn't mean that she can't fight monsters. Like, I don't understand what, like, the correlation. Like, yeah, she's dating Juliet, but she can multitask. She can rub her belly and pat her head out at the same time. Like, I don't think the families really understand that. Like, yeah, it's going against everything you guys believe in, but just because she's not killing one monster doesn't mean that she's not gonna kill others. She's gonna have to. What we saw next season with Oliver is true. I feel like her family just doubts her all the time, and I'm just like, you guys gotta give her the benefit of the doubt, because she's arguably one of the best at the job, you know, because your boy Apollo over here brought a shambler into the house. Theo got killed on sight by Eleanor. Calliope can hold her own very well. She was you know, brought down a peg a few times by a few monsters, but for the most part she can hold her own pretty well. Like, I'm gonna need the family to get off of her real quick, because she's way too good at her job for y'all to be treating her like this. Leave her alone. She was bit by Juliet, so I understand why her family thought Juliet was like possessing her because of her venom, or like she was bonded to Juliet because of the venom or whatever. But obviously she's not. Like, I don't know. I was like, as soon as they brought up the whole venom thing, because apparently legacy vampires have venom in their system and they transfer it over to whoever they bite. As soon as they brought that up, I was like, really? I felt like this is a little bit of a stretch. Because these two, they were pretty hooked on each other since the beginning of episode 1. Like, you could tell from just the stares across the room. So, but of course the family wasn't there to see it. Still, I could tell. And you could tell now, because even after the little venom draining test or whatever, Cal is still whipped for Juliet just as much as Juliet is whipped for her. So I'm gonna need the families to back off. Both families just need to back off, especially when it comes to Cal, because she's getting like the short end of the stick since the town thinks that she's the vampire of the city. Like, please give this girl a break. She's been through too much. Like, everyone is just been giving her hell and back, her and Juliet. Just leave them alone, please. I'm asking for peace. And now her brother is a vampire. She has to stop her dad from wanting to kill him. She doesn't even know where Theo is, does she? She was on the yard the whole entire time Talia and Jack were trying to make the decision of killing Theo. So I don't think she knows what even happened in the house. She was just having a full-on breakdown because she had to break up with Juliet. So I don't know where she's running off to. Please don't let it be anywhere dangerous. I'm begging, please don't let it be anywhere dangerous. I'm hoping it's back to Juliet, but that might be a long shot. But I'm hoping for a happy ending with those two. So I'm just gonna say it's back to Juliet so I can be satisfied until the next season comes out, probably within the next year or two. Calliope is a good hunter, a good daughter, a good sister, and a good girlfriend, and yet the only person that's giving her credit in any of this is Juliet. Like, I don't know, I just wish her family would just stop doubting her. That's the one thing with Calliope, because she's just too good at what she does for everyone to constantly doubt her all the time. Like, she has a few slip-ups, so what? Apollo has more than a few slip-ups, and yet y'all aren't calling off his hunts. Also, she can handle her own just fine. She put the police in their place at least 2 or 3 times throughout the season. She, with no one's help, put them on mute 3 seconds into a conversation. Like, please don't mess with her out here. It's very serious for her. Like I said, as for like the whole Juliet thing, she has every right to be mad at Juliet because Juliet did turn her brother into a vampire. But I'm still rooting for them. So, but I'm not going to sit here and lie and say that Calliope shouldn't be upset. Calliope has every right to be upset at Juliet. And for y'all saying that she doesn't, strange. That's all with Calliope. I love her. That's my sister. Hoping the best for her in seasons to come. Hoping better treatment towards her in seasons to come. Hoping that people appreciate her more. Now this is the part of the video where I talk about things that I don't like and things that I do like. Here's the thing, right? As I was making the lists, I was, surprised that I have nothing I dislike about this show, like, at all. Maybe I'm biased. I don't think I am, though. I think I like everything about this show. Of course, I could say like the main things being like, oh, the CGI was bad. Like, duh. Like, the special effects was bad. The budget was low. But I've watched worse. If you can get through a CW show, you can get through anything. This was definitely not the worst show I've seen regarding like vampires and fantasy stuff. Like, I've seen a lot worse, and I feel like you guys that are calling this show so bad and so terrible are willing to watch shows like The Vampire Diaries and be fine with it. But yet it's not okay when First Kill does it. I wonder why. I'm not gonna sit here and like talk about this. I'm not gonna, because you guys already know why you hate the show. You just don't want to outright say it because you know you're gonna sound even more like a bigot than you actually are. So I'm not gonna be the one to do the math for you in your head. But if 1 + 1 = 2 and 5 + 5 = 10, then you should be able to understand why you're so harsh to this show versus other shows. You know exactly why. So therefore, I'm not going to live in some delusional land and be like, oh, this show is the worst show I've ever seen. Because it's not. Because I've seen far worse. In the age of television that I've lived in throughout my whole 20 years of living, I have realized that a lot of fantasy shows have really bad budget depending on what networks they're aired on or whatever. This show, its first season on Netflix. I didn't expect it to get a big budget, but whether it had a big budget or not doesn't really matter because the story hits. It's a fun show. So there's nothing I dislike about it, to put it point blank, period. And I feel like everyone that dislikes stuff about it, they're all saying the same thing, but every single thing that they dislike about it are those things that they have in their other favorite vampire shows or fantasy shows. It's very telling. You guys are telling on yourselves. I only have a list for things that I like about the show because I couldn't think of anything I disliked. The only thing I could say I disliked was how the pacing was. I feel like at some points the pacing was fast, then it was slow, then it was fast again, then it was slow, and I was like, I couldn't keep up. I was getting whiplash. But it wasn't something I was really mad at. Like, I wasn't that bothered by it, but I did realize towards the end, I was like, a lot happened at once out of nowhere. And I did a rewatch of it this morning. I was like, oh, this happens throughout a lot of the episodes. So yeah, I guess that's the only thing I could say I disliked, but that's like, you know, a tiny little thing. On to things that I do like. I loved episode 5. That's the episode where Juliet and Calliope break into the school and like have their little sleepover on stage on the Romeo and Juliet set. I love that. I think that was a great moment in the show because, not gonna lie, I'm not a fan of insta love, and I didn't mind it in the show, but I was like, when are they actually gonna like sit and get to know each other? They're doing all of this stuff, going against their families and stuff for each other. They don't even know each other. I was waiting for like a sit down moment of where they actually talked instead of constantly running from their families. I think that episode was everything to me. It's my favorite episode. The whole entire like building sets for the play stuff and the whole monster chase in the school with the zombie. I think that was my favorite episode for sure. I like how they showed the differences between the way white children communicate to their parents and how black children communicate with their parents. This was also in episode 5, I think, when Juliet and Cal were calling their mom saying like, hey, I want to be with this girl for like a day and y'all are treating her terribly. So therefore, if you don't let me be with this girl for at least one day at school, then I will run away. That's what Juliet said. Juliet's very bold, but also Juliet is white, so it's exactly what I expected. However, Cal did not say that. Cal knew her choice of words because she has a black mother. That, like, I thought it was very funny. Like, the amount of times that they showed the different ways that the children communicated with their parents was very telling, and the way the households were ran as well. I liked seeing that. I don't know. I thought it was very funny and satisfying. I like how hard Juliet tried to keep her hunger at bay whenever Cal was near her. I know it's very corny and cringy, the trope of, oh, the vampire can't bite its love interest because it loves them too much, but it's so hungry and blah, blah, blah. I get that it's very corny and cheesy and cringy and blah, blah, blah. I get it. But it hits every time. So I don't know what y'all want me to say about that. I love that. Like, I mean, it got better as the season went on, but you could tell, like, she was really about to bite Cal at some point. I was like, oh. I mean, the first episode she did, but she got it together. But I did like seeing the moments where she was, like, physically putting an effort. Like, it took everything in her not to bite her. Another thing that I liked, monsters are known in Savannah. Like, they're not some, like, hidden myth or whatever. It seems like humans know about it, so that's cool. Most of the time dealing with like fantasy shows, the humans are like very in the unknown about stuff like that. Like, it takes monsters running amok throughout the city to be like, oh my god, this is real. But humans are very aware of monsters in this show and literally stand, like, they have protests and organizations standing against it. Like, I like how everyone is in the know. It's not just monster hunters and the monsters that know about it. Like, everyone knows about it. I think that's nice. Last thing I like the matriarchy. I like that the show is led by women, and literally and figuratively, because I'm pretty sure almost everyone that works on the show is a woman, like, for the most part. So I like that. I think it's cool. I like how the keeper of the snake or whatever, I like how it's ran by women and not men. I also like how the women are running both households, because say what you want, Talia is running the Burns family household for sure. Like, Jack acts like he's doing something, he's not. That man is doing nothing. So yeah, I appreciated showing how the women are handling their shit. It was nice. Yeah, that's First Kill. I would recommend it. I'm not gonna say it's a show for everyone. Like, if you're not into like the typical corny like vampire shows, then you're not gonna watch it. But if you are into it, then watch it. Because I feel like the only difference between this and like the average vampire show is that it's a lesbian relationship and not a straight one. And so if you don't end up liking it, then I don't know. I mean, maybe it's just not your cup of tea in general, but also, I would recommend it. I had a good time. I thought it was fun. The episodes are like 45 minutes. They're not that long. I don't know. The relationship was nice. The romance was nice. The action was pretty decent. If you enjoyed this video, thank you. If you'd like to follow me on my social medias to talk about it with me, here it is. I mostly interact on Twitter, but if you'd like to follow me on all my other social medias, they would be linked down in the description below. And yeah, I think that's it. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye everyone.